Alhamdulillah.
We have Kulthum Baba from Nigeria, Tijani Mohammad from Nigeria, Muhammad Yusuf Ali from IIIT IIUM, Abdullahi from Kenya, Noordin Sharif from India.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
We have Brother Jafar Jaman from Kuala Lumpur, Ahmad Lubis from Indonesia. Yeah, Dr. Daud. Can you unmute Dr. Daud now? Ahlan wa sahlan, Dr. Daud. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How is
MashaAllah. Yeah, we have Dr. Makawi from Jordan, and Fatimah Makawi and Dr. Ahmad Totonji from Istanbul.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah.
And we have from
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I think we can start now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Dr. Fatimah Makawi. Okay, I guess we can start now. We have 148 participants from all over the world.
Okay.
From Zahri, from USM just coming in. We have from Nigeria, Indonesia, Turkey, Jordan, Uganda, Maldives, all over the world. Dr. Bahaki Yusuf from Brunei. Ahlan wa sahlan. Yeah. Okay. We can start our program tonight with or morning or afternoon in Jordan, in Turkey. So we can begin with our session with Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Alhamdulillah. Summa alhamdulillah, all praise to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we are honored to have Dr. Daud Bakar with us tonight. Before we start the session, I would like to read a short biodata. Dr. Daud Bakar is the founder and executive chairman of Amanie Group, one of its flagship companies, namely Amanie Advisors, is operating in few cities globally. He served as the chairman of the Shariah Advisory Council, SEC, at the Central Bank of Malaysia, the Security Commission of Malaysia, the Labuan Financial Service Authority, the Astana International Financial Center, AIFC, Kazakhstan, the First Abu Dhabi Bank, and Pemodalan Nasional Berhad, PNB. Dr. Daud also Shariah board members of various global financial institutions, including the National Bank of Oman, Amundi Asset Management France, Bank of London and Middle East London, BNP Paribas Najma Bahrain, Netisis Bank Dubai, Oasis Asset Management South Africa, Nur Islamic Bank Dubai, Morgan Stanley Dubai, Sedco Capital Saudi and Luxembourg, and Dow Jones Islamic Market Index New York, among many others. In corporate world, Datuk is currently member of PNB Investment Committee. He also a board of director of Sime Darby Property Berhad. Currently in the academic side, he is the 8th president of the International Islamic University of Malaysia, IIUM. Due to his vast skill and experience serving the university, previously His last post there was as a Deputy Vice Chancellor. He was also the third chair professor in Islamic Banking and Finance, Yayasan Tun Ismail Muhammad Ali, PNB, at Faculty of Economic Muamalat, University of Science Islam Malaysia. In addition, he is the co-founder of Expert Analytics Center Siam Berhad, MyFinB. In 2016, he received the award of Excellent Outstanding for Outstanding Contribution for Sharia Leadership and Advisory at London Sukuk Summit Award and Sharia Advisor Award at the Asset Triple Islamic Finance Award. In 2014, he received the Most Outstanding Individual Award by His Majesty, the King of Malaysia, in conjunction with the national level Prophet Mohammad SAW birthday. Under his leadership, Amanie Advisor received the Islamic Economic Knowledge Infrastructure Award at the Global Islamic Economic Summit Dubai 2015 by His Highness Sheikh Mohammad bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and the ruler of Dubai, October 2015. He received his first degree in Shariah from University of Kuwait 1988. He obtained his PhD from University of St. Andrews, United Kingdom in 1993. In 2002, he completed his external bachelor jurisprudence at University of Malaya. His first book, entitled Sharia Minds in Islamic Finance, an inside story of Sharia scholar, has won the Islamic Finance Book of the Year 2016 by the Global Islamic Finance GIFA 2016. Then his book on Sukuk, entitled Insightful Journey to Emirate Airline Sukuk, Pushing the Boundaries of Islamic Finance, also won the Best Islamic Finance Case 2017 by GIFA 2017 in Kazakhstan. His latest book include Mindset is Everything 2019, The Hard Truth of Islamic Finance 2019, Ratiocination, difficult to pronounce, in Islamic Legal Theory 2019, and Corporate Matrimony 2019, Dukun Kegagalan 2019, Engsel Kehidupan 2019, Sosialisasi Fiqh dalam Struktur Masyarakat 2019. His other book include I Have 25 Hours a Day. They quite interesting, Dr. Ahmad Totunji. You only have 24 hours a day, but Dr. Daud Bakar have 25, 1 hour extra. Okay. The Smart Way to Create More Time 2016, Mainstreaming Islamic Finance, Unveiling the Critical Success and Failure Factors and Insiders of Global Perspective 2018, Saya Ada 25 Jam Sehari 2016, Be the Eagle Among the Bird 2018, Sharia is Life 2018, Pulun 2018, Anak Desa ke Persada Antarabangsa 2018, Harapan Buat Pakatan Harapan 2018, Membumikan Syariah, Menjelajahi Dimensi Syariah Cara 360 Darjah 2018. Alhamdulillah. So this is the short CV, but it's very interesting. Tonight, Dr. Daud Bakar are going to discuss on the Sharia algorithm and Sharia mind. First, when I read the title, I said, wow, this is a computer science. And because my area is computer science, in the computer science, we have this computational thinking. In computational thinking, they have number 1, decomposition, number 2, pattern recognition, number 3, abstraction, and the last part, Dr. Daud, is design algorithm. So people asking me before we have this session, what is the Sharia mind and algorithm, Sharia algorithm? So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Daud Bakar to have the floor in the virtual world. Tafadhal, we have 171 participants around the world. Tafadhal, Sheikh.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah alladhi bi ni'matihi tatimmu salihat wassalatu wassalam nabiyyil huda war rahmah. Amma ba'du. Thank you, Professor Dr. Fauzan, for a very welcoming introduction to me, to this blessed platform, combining all the scholars and the thinkers and the intelligentsia of the Muslim world, and the student, of course, coming from all over the world. It is, I'm honored and humbled, to be honest, to be on this platform, talking to many great teachers, great mentors of myself and many other scholars around the globe. So I humbly seek your apology and your permission to speak to the minds of the participant on the topic which is related to the mindset to a large extent. Prof. Dr. Fauzan has asked me to give a topic that I have purposely picked the topic of something along the mindset. Because for me, as in my other book, mindset is everything. But what kind of mindset we are talking about? In fact, if you were to refer to the very Quranic verse, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the change theory of the community, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. In my humble opinion, I would personally define the word ma in this particular Quranic verse referring to the mindset. We cannot change the society, we cannot change ourselves to start with until and unless we are able and keen and be ready to change the way we think and the way we put things into the perspective. In fact, the Quran was revealed to create a new mindset altogether into the minds of the Muslim, so that they can see the world, the insects, the environment, the humanities, the system, the supply chain of the economy in a manner which is very much in line with the mindset that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, programmed to this world. So everything has been programmed for us to unlock. So it's about unlocking the real mindset that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in place from day one. So Shariah algorithm is about, and before that, I would say that every profession, they have their own way of thinking, the algorithm of everything, the mathematician, the metaphysics, the historian, the psychologist, the murabbi, the IT, of course. Somehow the algorithm has been made popular by the IT, the coding and the algorithm. And before that, we have the Al-Khwarizmi, the mathematician, where the word algorithm is taken from his name, the Al-Khwarizmi, where the Western has coined the word algorithm from the very name of Al-Khwarizmi to show that he was systematic and he was working all the time using certain formula, and that formula over time has become the algorithm of everything. So the Sharia, I would say, has a very systematic and very predictable algorithm that we have to embed in our understanding. So Sharia algorithm is about a very systematic, proven way of thinking whenever we are faced with many problems. I would like to share a few. I don't think the time would be sufficient to deep dive into this topic, but let's say in my other books, Shariah Mind, I mentioned about the Sharia has been revealed to develop civilization in this world. In fact, the Quran was revealed purposely to build the life in this world and not in the hereafter. In fact, the Quran has no function whatsoever in the hereafter. That's why the Quran was revealed to talk about the whole supply chain, about the environment, the insect, the water, the river, the mountain, the wind movement from one place to another, the seed, the genome of the plantation, the quality of soil, the turab, and so on and so forth. So it is about creating a life on this world. And this is the mindset, this algorithm. The Sharia was not revealed to build another civilization in the hereafter, because in the hereafter, everything will be prepared for. In this world, we work hard to build the civilization. In the hereafter, we go there to rest and to enjoy our retirement, entirely. We are no longer Khalifa. We are no longer the worker. We are no longer the fighter, if you like. We are there as a guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this will change everything. The way we read the Quran, the way we interact with the hadith, the way we interact with the ahkam fiqhiyah will be different, because the mindset would dictate on us to look everything that we touch, everything we read will be diverted, will be focused on building the civilization. And the other example, I will stop at that, Dr. Fauzan, to give you some time to ask me whatever question. It's about Sharia does not provide one solution for all the cases. In fact, one solution fits all is not part of the Sharia algorithm. We have seen how Ibn Khaldun in his Muqaddimah, and how the Usuliyun, the Usul Fiqh, Fuqaha and jurists, I call them theories, legal theories, has been approaching the topic from many solutions, from many level of cognitive interpretation, from literal interpretation, from contextual interpretation. Shafi'i in Risalah was talking about ikhtilaful halain, the different contexts that can give different meaning to the one hadith of the Prophet Mohammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even in as early as 2nd century and in the beginning of the 3rd century of Hijrah, when he died in 2004 Hijriyah. So the ikhtilaful halain, this is different solution for one particular problem. So Sharia is not about giving one solution all the time. One solution fits all does not jive well with the Sharia mindset or algorithm. I will stop at that. Perhaps that a few examples and few opening remarks can open up our minds together to understand Sharia is a living organism. Sharia is always a living organism interacting with the text of the Quran and the Sunnah and the context of the humanity. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair, Datuk Daud Bakar, and quite interesting that Sharia is not fixed, and it's not like one size fit to all kind of problem. Is really to depend on the waqi' and the bi'ah of the certain countries, certain time. So, but I would like to pick up on the point you said. We are no longer Khalifah in Akhirah. So what we should do, Khalifah, but we still Abdillah in Akhirah, isn't it? But here in this world, we are Abdillah and Khalifah. So in Jannah, inshallah, we are only Abdillah, no longer Khalifah, because everything, as you said, is provided for. So, but what you say is, someone say that all our life in this dunya is just temporary, indeed, and our life solely for akhirah. So there, in a way, yes, we have to prepare, but at the same time, this kind of mentality, thinking that dunya is nothing.
Yeah.
But as you said, we have to prepare. Even the Quran solely for dunya, quote unquote, as you said. But how we want to make it? Said no, it's important for akhirah. But the thing is, we have to work hard here.
Yeah.
This is my comment. First round.
Again, this reflects our Sharia algorithm in our understanding of the very purpose of sending the prophets, of sending down the holy books, of putting all the Quranic verses in their context. And the whole mission of prophethood was to build civilization on this world according to the set of program, ethically, morally, from the faith perspective, from the jurisdiction, from the rulings perspective, in accordance with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, our life, our hereafter life start from this world, because we have to print, we have to start printing the design of the hereafter from this world. That's why if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to enjoy in the hereafter and the dunya is not important, there's no need to send the prophethood. There's no need to send all the books from the heaven And all the books were talking not about hereafter all the time. The books, if you can refer from cover to cover, again from big data analytics, we can do the simulation of number of Quranic verses. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the water, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Indeed, we have created from water every living organism. Even COVID-19, the small virus and bacteria needs water to be alive, because this is the very fact of the Quran, that water is so essential not only for human but also for animal, cattle. They need to consume more water than we consume. If they don't have the water, they die, and we die, because we need the protein from the animal. And the plantation needs water as well. And the water, the theme of water is mentioned more than they mention about prayer that itself. I mean, if you can compare water and prayer, and that reflect how important the theme of building civilization is concerned. So when we talk about water, we need to talk about supply of water. How could we get the water in place? How could we purify the water using chemical or using the new technology, like they call it the new technology called using I forgot at the moment, a very special thorough filtering to process the raw water into the drinkable water at the end of the day. So as we move on, we can see that every mention about ba'udah, the mosquito, about the mention about the cattle, about the raw material under the ground, everything was mentioned purposely, al-hadid and whatnot. So it's all about building civilization. And for that matter, Islam is all about building the akhirah starting from this world, and not when we die. When we die, there's nothing to do. There's nothing value added we can add on to build our life in the hereafter. That's why in hereafter, it is all about our journey in this world. When we first come to this world, we need to take this amanah as Khalifah, the vicegerent of Allah, meaning to say we are the administrator of the world on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the vote on behalf is very important. We are here for quite some time. Do you think that, Dr. Fauzan, we are the administrators on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of not doing nothing? No.
Yeah.
When we are the Khalifa means someone appointed by him on behalf of him, the Almighty, to work for him. To do what? To create civilization, to build this world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do it by himself subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he decided not. In the hereafter, everything will be prepared. When you go in fact, there's no need for you to pray anymore.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Daud. We have 186 participants now, and Brother Sharan will unmute for those who want to raise their hand or to put the symbol of raising hand. In the meantime, I'm going to read the question from the chat room. From Noordin, Professor Daud, I want to ask if Sharia is equated with an organism, then is nature constantly changing? Nothing is fixed. Is this not the same as the Western worldview, which does not believe in fixity and is only an endless change, as explained by a number of secular philosophers such as Albert Camus? This is the first question. Dr. Daud?
Well, very interesting question. I have agreed to come to this session to take only easy question. Okay.
Okay.
I hope I can understand the essence of the question. I could, I could get the question wrongly. Please accept my apology. As you know, Sharia have two components: the fixed component and the variable component. More often than not, the variable component are outperforming the fixed component. The fixed component are very much limited in number. They are very much related to the matter of faith, for example, and the matters of, even in the matters of hukum, ahkam shar'iyah, they are deemed to be fixed, but in the final analysis they are not. They are still subject to human interpretation at the best effort of human being. If I may quote the words of Arasuni, for example, one of the great scholar at the current time, and the author and the authority on Maqasid al-Shariah, he was quoted as saying that al-fiqh ibn zamanihi, that is the fiqh is the son of his time. So the fiqh is the bond, is the newborn of a particular time. So when we talk about Sharia, we have to relate it to the variable of the time. I give you a good example, perhaps, if I may. For example, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Inna Allaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. A very interesting ayah. According to Al-Qurtubi in his Al-Jami' al-Ahkam al-Quran, he was saying that this ayah is ajma'u ayatin in al-Quran. This is the most comprehensive ayah of the Quran in the entire Al-Quran al-Karim. And that's why perhaps this ayah has become one of the most recited verse during the khutbah of Jum'ah, to remind Muslim on few vertical, the importance of adl, justice. Justice is not important, it's not sufficient. That's why the Quran mentioned about al-ihsan, because ihsan can complement the very meaning of justice. Because ihsan is to go beyond the ordinary definition and limit of al-adl. Perhaps al-adl is very fixed, but ihsan is not fixed. Ihsan can complement, can soften, can provide another layer that the ruler, the teacher, the one in power, and even the parent, everyone can exercise the meaning of ihsan to complement the very requirement of justice. And this meaning is everlasting. It's everlasting. That's why in the other ayah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about two things in one ayah, complementing one another, we have to take note. This is the variable of life, where the fix is not sufficient. We need to depend and we need to leverage on something which is variable to make our life more complementary and more humanistic in many respects.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair. I have a question from Brother Ali Crochet. Can you ask question to Brother Ali?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I am very happy to be here with you all in Malaysia and Nigeria and everywhere, and particularly welcoming Dr. Mohammad Daud Bakar, and I can say to him that we're missing you here in London.
Likewise.
I just hope that you are in a good health and everybody keep at home, keep away from Corona. Can I turn the wheel now into a very technical question, if I may? Dr. Dawood, do you think that Islamic finance is contributing enough to achieve the global sustainable development? What, if not, what we need to do more? Thank you.
Thank you. Tafadhal, Dr. Daud.
Wow, Dr. Ali, I mean, you are putting a very tough question to me. And you are a great scholar yourself. I think last time we met in the city of London, having good coffee together after Friday prayer. Alhamdulillah. I think as for me, Islamic finance is not the whole solution. In fact, we need to create more solution. In fact, the origin of failure in our society, where we limit our option, we don't create more option. And in fact, we try to create one or two, and we tend to rely on that one option. So this is the origin of failure, the genesis of failure in many Muslim communities. Even in the West, before the coming of science and technology, they were not creating option. They were relying on one or two option, one ruler, one system, one thought process, and that's it. Whereas Islam, when Islam came, they give option. In fact, we started education from the mosque, from the small community center, where in the West, they will give only one option. If you are the priest, you can have the education. If you are belonging to royalty family, you have the access to education. No other option given to the people as a whole. In Islam, we have to create more options. Islamic finance is only one option. We need to create Islamic social finance. We need to create what we call the sharing and caring economy at the state level. We need also to mobilize the very meaning of sustainability. I think you are right in pointing out the word sustainability. The fiqh al-istidamah, okay, it's not that common as we speak today. Even scholars themselves have no clue whatsoever what we are talking about to make our world sustainable, to make our water drinkable, water sustainable for many years to come. If you ask any Muslim countries, how are we preparing for the next 100 years for solar energy, for water, for education, for resources, for new technology, we are clueless. So the word sustainability is a very big word. Islamic finance cannot solve all the problem. Islamic finance is only contributing what they can contribute within their limitation. In fact, from the Shariah mindset, Shariah algorithm, we need to be honest and objective to the function of a particular field of knowledge. Waqaf has their function, zakat has their function, and after all, the policy of the government. How could we bring in the rahmatil lil alameen, what I like to say all the time, sharing and caring economy. We have to Uberization. You know, Uber and Grab technology in the transportation sector. So they have liberalized, they have Uberized the car transportation, transportation delivery. How could we Uberize our education system? How could we Uberize our university system, our medical treatment, our knowledge that we have? So Islamic finance is only one little dot on so many functions, and we need to improve, of course. We cannot be content and happy with our performance, but I would appeal to other colleagues, we need to create more options. And the other two, just to complete the other two reason of failure, we don't create, we don't unleash our creativities. And the third one, we don't question our assumption. We live in our assumption until we die, which is wrong. So we need to evolve with our own assumption. We put the assumption, we need to be ready and keen and able to question our own assumption. I think with these three things, we can change our world to a better world. So we create option, we unleash our creativities, and we are more than happy to question our own assumption as we progress and evolve in this world. Thank you,
Dr. Daud. I have a question from chat room. First one from Bibi Jan, I think from Singapore. Dr. Daud, many Muslims are so ingrained in the secular version of Islam that many of us conceptualize and operate our life with such duality and dichotomy. Our mental model is shaped by that worldview. Besides acquiring knowledge to mold and develop the Sharia mindset, we need the political, the social, and the spiritual will bring about this mindset. This is the first question, Dr. Daud. I have another question. You want to collect all the question or answer? I think at least three questions.
I would answer first. I'm not
okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I think the word secularization could be understood negatively or positively. For me, again, we have to question our own assumption. What do we understand by the word secularization, secularization or secularism for that matter? So I'm open on that. Perhaps we can discuss in another forum. But what is the important point I wanted to stress over here? We need to blend not only the world affairs with Sharia, but we also need to blend the Sharia with the world affairs. And I think the origin of tasawwur or the worldview was coming from the German scholar, I cannot recall the name, and he was saying that if you were to see or to create your own worldview without understanding the world, you are not creating a new world. If you are creating the world affair worldview without understanding the religion and the ethical, you are not creating a perfect worldview. So we need to combine the two together. And this is something lacking at the moment. In fact, if I can comment on a very general note, when we wanted to blend, we are still on the very surface, level of doing things. We don't go that deep to understanding the sociology, the psychology. We don't pick up any books, and we don't spend time in reading a bit deeper. If you wanted to talk about the social justice, economic distribution, the free economy, we need to understand the philosophy behind the system, and what does Islam talk about the economic system and what have you. So this is something that a very general comment to you. We need to bring both to one another. People thought we need to bring world to the Islam or world affair to Islam, but for me should be take two to tango. We need also to bring our religious studies into the world knowledge and world affair understanding in deep, rather than in deep knowledge instead of a very superficial knowledge of everything that we do or plan to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from Sajad Siddiqui. How can we justify changing our mode of prayers during this time of COVID-19? A number of people who oppose changing the mode of prayers with physical distance say this is part of Sharia, is not variable. They say we must pray normally as fixed by the Prophet. By the way, last week, this question should be asked to Prof. Sanu Kutub. He gave the fatwa. But up to you to answer these questions.
I'm not authorized to give a fatwa. I'm not.
Fatwa then.
Then, because if you refer to the history of calamity in the Islamic world in the past, many incidents happened. The mosque was closed. Even the Hajj was suspended for many years, not only during our time, but in the past how many years. And the fact that praying in closeness to one another is not a Sharia requirement, as we see. It's more of recommended. Of course, it is better to pray to one another, but if that would cause the transfer of the virus from one person to another, and we are violating, we are going against the Sharia prohibition of wala tulqu aydiyakum ila tahlukah. So do not put yourself in the manner which could be destructive to your life. So this is the very teaching of the Quran and the Sunnah. We need to understand, which I mentioned, the text and the context. We need to understand the text of the Quran and the Sunnah. We need to understand the context of the data, the facts of life. So I would support the argument that we need to have of course, the word social distance is not right. Perhaps we can call it physical distance, because we need to be socially connected, socially wired, and socially, be close to one another. But somehow the word social distance has become popular, but the right word should be physical distance. We need to maintain the social distance or social closeness forever, but physical distance due to the scientific and medical fact that within 1 meter or so, the virus could be, transferred quite easily from one person to another. Shukran.
Okay, I have the questions. Hello. This is echoing. This question from Mohammad, Imsan Mohammad. The relevance of Sharia thought is to the economy and finance. We realize that Islamic world is still lagging behind in terms of financial literacy. What steps are taken to harmonize the growth of Sharia mind in relation to effort to increase financial literacy? Dr. Daud?
Yeah, very, very important and useful question. Thank you very much for asking this question. Financial literacy has become one of the most neglected area of discipline in many Muslim world, even in Malaysia for that matter. So many Muslims are not having the opportunity to understand the very meaning of saving, of managing the cost of fund, investment, hedging, and also preparing for the future. Balance sheet management, cash flow management. So these ideas are not being taught in many schools and universities in many Muslim countries. Perhaps arising from this question, we need to work together to start inculcating or cultivating the whole tradition of financial literacy, because financial literacy is the key knowledge for financial freedom. That's why many Muslims are not financially free from this world. Sometimes they die, they have a lot of debt. Sometimes they don't know how to manage their debt. Sometimes they don't know how to manage their own inheritance. Families are fighting over inheritance over years. Even in the case of wakaf, they know how to make wakaf. Even though they have made wakaf, they have not done it properly. So it become a legal dispute in many countries, Pakistan, India, Malaysia, Singapore, around the globe. So we can take from very simplest knowledge of financial literacy all the way to sophisticated and complicated financial management. We are still behind, and the time has come for many schools, universities, professors and teachers to start talking and teaching about money creation, the inflation, the power of investment, what kind of financial prudence we are talking about, and that can lead to corruption. Even in Maqasid al-Shariah, interestingly, Dr. Fauzan, when we pick up one of the Maqasid on the protection and promotion of wealth and property, we have been given the same example for the last 200 years in our universities. What are the example of hifzul mal? We talk about theft, robbery, and whatnot, and not even one single book talk about corruption, the financial corruption, which was mentioned in the Quran more than the hukum on a sariqah or theft for that matter. So something is wrong in our mindset, in our algorithm. In fact, the one who brought down the nation are not theft. In fact, nowadays it's not easy to steal because we have all CCTV and all the security guard. But financial corruption is still the issue in many Muslim countries. So this is something that we need to bring back, financial literacy. The Prophet ﷺ was offered to buy from his companion a camel, a camel from Bakar. Bakar was saying to him that, take my camel and pay me, below the cost, called wadi'ah in the Arabic term. The Prophet refused because it's going to be deemed as corruption among the companion, between the Prophet and the companion. And the Prophet was suggesting to him, why can't you sell to me on the cost basis? It become tawliyah sale rather than wadi'ah sale. So this reflects the financial literacy of the Prophet Muhammad SAW and his companion. And there are many other hadiths that we can pick up to show that financial literacy is very important, and we cannot afford but to focus on financial literacy back again in our world.
Thank you, Dr. Daud. This brother Johnny Ahmad Mughni want to ask question live. Tafadhal, brother Johnny Ahmad. Is Johnny here? Get the signal from brother Shahran that Johnny want to ask question. Otherwise, I'm going to read from the brother Ibrahim Alani Abdul Karim. What's your personal view regard purchase undertaking applied in sukuk structure? And do you think that sukuk market will experience a setback without purchase undertaking between issuer and investors? This specific question.
Very technical question.
Very technical.
Interestingly, because as you know, every one of you who are in the field of Islamic finance, sukuk is not an equity. Sukuk has been designed from day one as a debt instrument. Of course, we have the equity nature, which is more of asset-backed ABS, asset-backed securities. But most of the sukuk of the world, in Malaysia, UAE, Bahrain, Europe, and what have you, most of them, if not all of them, are asset-based, and they are very much amounting to IOU, which is owingness, indebtedness. So indebtedness will require a kind of confirmation that someone is supposed to pay back whatever they have taken the money, and the expected profit, if you like, or the fixed profit. So if you go for murabaha, tawaruk, then it become fixed profit. If you go for musharaka, wakala, and mudarabah, then the coupon is deemed to be the expected profit. And this is the issue of purchase undertaking you mentioned just now, al-wa'du bi-shira, where the sukuk issuer will undertake to buy back the sukuk from the sukuk investor in the secondary market when the maturity period comes. And there has been some Shariah scholars disagreement between Malaysia and Middle East and what have you. So for me, without going to the detail, sukuk without having the purchase undertaking still valid, but from the rating perspective, from the market acceptance, could be could pose a number of issues. What was the solution then? If I can take about 1 minute or so, instead of having a pure equity-based sukuk, the sukuk issuers of the world are combining what they call hybrid sukuk, sukuk wakala, when we have in one stream, we can have 49% coming from murabaha, which is fixed income, and 51% from the musharaka or wakala. So we can combine the two, but at the end of the day, in the case of maturity, we rely very much on the fixed part of it, the murabah part of it, and we don't look into very much into the variable or unfixed portion of musharaka. By doing that, we can still maintain the feature of fixity at the end of the day. And it has been common now in Middle East, in Malaysia, using the hybrid sukuk to ensure that we are having a kind of fixed element of coupon payment in the future. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Dr. Daud. I have a question from Murniati Muklisin from Tazkiyah. I have taken a small step under the banner of Alhamdulillah, Sakinah, financesakinah.com to increase Islamic financial literacy. It's really true. After sending the message on Islamic financial literacy in 20 countries, I found 90% Jama'ah or participants neglect managing their money in Shariah way. This, I think he just gave a comment. Yeah. Then the Aliyu from Rabiu Gombe, Nigeria, Salam, it's clear that Shariah provides and shapes family institution in Islam, but there seems to be rising identity crisis in many Muslim families. How can we restore amidst globalization? Jazakallah khair. This from Aliyu Rabiu, Nigeria.
How could we restore what?
Restore the I mean, maybe the Islamic principles and Sharia. Okay.
MashaAllah, a very interesting and challenging question. I have to be honest with you. We can speak easy. It's easy said than done. In order to restore the identity of Muslim worldwide, we need to work harder. We need to put the right curriculum in our informal and formal education system. We need to prepare the young mothers and fathers about the importance of putting the right tarbiyah education to the mind of our kids. And the teachers and the murabbi need to change their style, because they are not teaching the children in their own time. They are teaching the youngsters who are exposed to the new gadget and new way of thinking. They need to be more flexible, because teaching is very much living organism as well. We're not teaching stone. We're not teaching something which is fixed. We are teaching human. Humans are very much, changing and very much flexible in their thought. So this is one thing. Number two, we need to create success story in our own country. Success story in financial management. Success story in the higher learning institution, success story in science technology, success story in managing the youth in the community, sport activities, entertainment activities, the free activities of the youth. So we need to revamp and redesign the whole thing. We need to start talking about entertainment for our youth. We need to talk about the sport activities and the sport activities through the online nowadays, which are much more appealing compared to the physical sport. So I need to, perhaps IIIT can do something to redesign the new syllabus for 21st century for all segment of the community, young mothers, would-be parent, the young kids, the youth, the student at the universities and beyond. So this is something, but it should be modern and trendy and fashionable. We cannot afford to have 50 years or even 10 years, the syllabus for the current generation. It won't work anymore.
Thank you, Dr. Daud. This is a future question. Datuk, I want to ask, actually he missed the word asked, about blockchain sukuk. And what is the blockchain regulating in Malaysia? Is it smart contract Shariah compliant? Compliant, I guess, yeah.
I think blockchain is not an instrument. Blockchain is technology to improve the quality of recording of anything. You can record your university's examination result through blockchain better. You can record wakaf registration better. You can record the zakat data better using blockchain, because the moment you blockchain any system, any data, that information cannot be changed by anyone. It has to go through back the whole system by consensus for the community members to change a word, even not to mention the whole script of that particular information. So blockchain in our Islamic tradition is like hadith mutawatir. We can see now when hadith is being reported, more than 3 transmitters all the way from the Prophet, from the company of the Prophet, tabi'in, tabi'in, all the way to the recorders of the hadith. It had become the mutawatir that is transmitted by more than 3. It become more trustworthy from that perspective compared to 1 or 2 companion hadith aziz and hadith ahad in the mustalah hadith definition. So nowadays for the blockchain we have 10 or 100 people becoming the recorders, then become very solid, and that can help to fight manipulation, corruption and whatnot. For sukuk based on blockchain is quite easy. It's not about the sukuk, it's about the blockchain. If you can do for sukuk, you can do for any other banking system, credit card, debit card, e-wallet and whatnot, because this is just a technology based on the community who provides the governance, the assurance, instead of 1 or 2 or even agency to provide that assurance. It become community-based assurance. It become community-based, governance and monitoring and compliance check at the end of the day. So sukuk has nothing to do with blockchain. Blockchain is just a system that can address the issue of recording for sukuk, for banking, for education, for marriage, for wakaf, for sadaqah, for everything, even for our video today. When we blockchain it, then no one can change any word I have said just now. No one can change Prof. Fauzan's statement just now because it has been blockchain. Otherwise, people can edit, people can put a word which is not my word, or cut it into whatever. So there's the power of blockchain to verify the quality, the originality of anything that we can secure for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Daud, this question from Prof. Saadia from Shah Alam. Her question, the big global issues now is economic inequality,
yes,
including in Muslim countries. And there is a big critique towards Islamic finance that it has done little in this aspect for the past 3 decades. What's your comment on this, Prof. Saida?
Yeah, thank you, Prof. I think I have commented along the same line, a question coming from my brother, Dr. Ali Khurshid in London, that we cannot rely on Islamic banking and finance to solve all the problems. As if we cannot rely on school, for example, to solve our problem. We cannot be relying on Islamic school when they go after the mainstream school to the religious school in the afternoon to solve their problem. We cannot do that. Though we have Islamic religious school in the afternoon from 2 to 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon, we cannot say, well, we send our children over there, we give the budget from the government, we provide the teachers, but still our children are not functioning well. We cannot do that. And we cannot say, well, Islamic banking and finance is the one responsible for solving all the problem. It's too little. You know, the Islamic banking asset of the world is only 1 trillion. When we go back to Malaysia, it's not that much. It cannot solve the few billion worth of issues of environment, of development and whatnot. So what I'm trying to say, we need to empower Islamic banking and finance to the best. We also need to empower other vertical of organ in the society, the parenthood, the family institution, the employment culture where the mothers and the fathers are struggling to earn. Sometimes they have 1 or 2 jobs. Is that right, Dr. Fauzan? In Malaysia, some of the parents got 3 jobs in one day, from 8 to 4 and 4 to 8 and 8 to whatever until midnight. So the whole system must be redressed. Of course, we look into banking and finance, we thought they can solve all the problems. We can't. Even in our case, we cannot be expecting teachers to solve our children issues. We need to be part of the whole organization, the teachers, the parent association, the environment, the police, the mosque and whatnot. In the case of putting the metaphor of solving the society issues, except banking and finance is not the magical word to solve all the problem. It can solve a bit of problem of freeing the community from riba. This is what they can do. Perhaps to provide employment for Shariah graduate and Islamic finance graduate, for example. It can free the community from riba if people come to them, but it cannot solve all the issue: employment, the moral decadence, the equal opportunities in the society, because the assets too small. They cannot be competing with other GLCs of the country, the big companies of the country. We provide, employment. We shape the country. They don't shake the country. They don't, even not only shake but shape the country. They don't, because they are too small. We thought they are big. They are not. They are not big. Take any banks of the world and compare them with other banks of conventional. They are negligible to some extent.
Thank you, Dr. Daud. I have 15 minutes, 10:15 now. So maybe you can have a last word. I don't know whether I should ask these questions or not. There's a lot of questions, but maybe, this from Ibrahim Alani Abdul Karim. Prof, another question. What step do you think should be taken by Sharia scholars, Islamic financial institutions, and regulatory bodies to minimize areas of divergence in Sharia interpretation, to harmonize, standardize Islamic finance globally? Thank you. So I think you answered this question, then maybe after that we can conclude.
Harmonization is good, but not necessarily good all the time. Islam has been revealed not to harmonize everything, the culture, the language, people behavior. It's up to the community to pick and choose their own clothes, the way that suit their weather, the appetite of food. So even the same go to Sharia and fiqh, the interpretation of it. Even if Imam Ash-Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi were to live in our current world, he would have changed his classical views in the past, because thing has changed. The tax implication, the legal disclosure that you have to make, the implication on the requirement of prudential standard and what have you. And every country and every jurisdiction of the banking and finance have their own. Let me give one small example. I was living in Australia for 1 year, and we were fighting in Australia. There are 5 states in Australia. We have the New South Wales, where Melbourne is the capital. We went to the Parliament of Melbourne a few times. We managed to convince them to allow us to do dual transaction, buy and sell, for house financing. And we told them this buy and sell is not real from the tax perspective, because the bank has to buy and bank has to sell to the customer on markup. If we put the tax on both legs, and the cost of the financing will go up. And they listen to us. They passed the law allowing the house financing in Melbourne without having tax for the state, for the New South Wales state. In Sydney, we can't do that because the parliament over there refused to acknowledge the issue of double taxation and whatnot. So the same goes to many other countries in Bahrain, in Brunei, in Malaysia, different interpretation to suit the requirement of the country. In a nutshell, We support harmonization, but we cannot give the final solution to harmonization. Imam Malik was asked to make his excellent and reputable book Al-Muwatta as a source of reference to the whole community and to be put next to the Kaabah, And he said, in fact, he was reported he ran away when the Caliph came to his house, asking him to put his book. He was missing in action because he does not want to confront the Caliph out of respect. But more importantly, he didn't want to make Islam regimented. Islam is not regimented. Islam is all about freedom of interpretation, provided you are qualified, provided you are substantiated, you have the facts and the argument behind your argument. This is how Islam evolved in the last 1,400 years ago. In some areas we can harmonize, in some areas we have to make it open to the human intelligence and human freedom to become human at the end of the day.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Daud. I think maybe this you can make a conclusion, round up what is the Sharia algorithm, or algorithmy, the steps of solving problems and achieve Sharia minds. Tafadhal, Dr. Daud.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Fauzan, for this opportunity. I'm very grateful to this session and this platform. I'm also grateful to all the participants who have been very active in asking questions and perhaps trying to ask questions, but somehow they are not able to do that. We really appreciate your time, your high, encouragement to be with us. For Sharia algorithm, there is a long way to go. In fact, we have to start from asking relevant questions, because the knowledge comes from asking relevant questions. So we have to ask more questions to understand the Sharia algorithm. Why not? What is this? What is the basis of everything? So this is the source of Sharia algorithm. Then we have the pattern, we have the data, because the answer to all these questions would lead and surely lead to one trend, and that trend can be formulated into an algorithm, into a pattern, into coding that we can benefit from this coding as to guide our issues in managing our life, be it politics, economics, education, sociology, financial, environment, space management, social media management. So everything must be able to refer back to this algorithm. And I cannot do alone. I need everyone to start asking relevant questions, because in the Islamic world, we are not supposed to ask questions, which is wrong. So we need to start by asking many questions in the classroom. By asking questions, the algorithm of Sharia will appear naturally. Even in the Quran, there's so many ayah, yas'alunaka, they ask you, they are asking you. And Allah has given the answer through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yas'alunaka anil anfal, yas'alunaka ma yunfiquna, yas'alunaka anil mahid, and many other verses. Why? The tradition of asking questions is the beginning of Sharia algorithm. As we ask questions in our big data, in our computer sciences, we need to ask questions in our Sharia studies. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daud. Alhamdulillah. I guess it's almost 10:30 now. So, inshallah, we will meet again next week, 9:15. The special guest next week is our rector, Dr. Daud. So, Tansrizul, Professor Emeritus Tansrizul Kifli Abdul Razak, and his topic we will discuss about Maqasid Guided Sustainable Development Goal with IIUM model. So I think I will invite all of us, all of you, to be with us again next week, and inshallah the moderator, Prof. Aslam Anif. So with that, Jazakumullah khair. I'm sorry I cannot read all those questions, but inshallah you can communicate with Dr. Daud by his email, and he's in Amanie group, and is by that we close with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق. السلام عليكم.